The system was ahead of the truth before the truth understood. It was running by the time the hearings began. The outcome had already been modeled, not publicly, internally, predictive architecture. Does not wait for exposure, it prepares for convergence. And convergence had arrived. Journalism had resumed. The analyst had testified. The nonprofit coalition had formalized. The protected disclosure had moved beyond. Internal containment. 4 vectors, aligned, cascade probability exceeded modeled tolerance. Red was no longer theoretical. The first hearing day appeared controlled. Agency officials spoke with disciplined restraint. They acknowledged oversight blind spots. They committed to process modernization. They avoided direct reference to threshold scoring. They avoided the phrase irreversible outcome. Markets stabilized. Cautiously, volatility declined. But volatility had not dispersed. It had. Compressed. Compression is more dangerous than fluctuation. On the second day, the former analyst described executive dashboards in detail. Exposure scores updated in real time. Narrative volatility curves tied to personnel decisions. Tolerance. Recalibration after Greer. He did not speculate. He did not dramatize. He explained structure. Structure resists. Dismissal. Public trust shifted measurably. Not collapse. Erosion. Erosion increases cascade probability gradually. Gradual increases are harder to intercept. That evening, my encrypted system displayed a silent notification. Contributor reassessment initiated. No sender. No traceable source. The model had recalculated my proximity, exposure vector, investigative persistence, amplification potential. Moderate. Network adjacency. Elevated. I was no longer observer. I was variable. Variables are managed. Management can be subtle. Access to 2 sources diminished overnight. Calls went unanswered. Encrypted messages delayed. Not erased. Repositioned. Tier 1 containment. The third hearing day produced an unexpected development. A procurement archive was entered into public record. 1 page. 3 lines. Escalation review authorized under irreversible outcome parameters. Silence followed. Officials described it as outdated advisory language. Legacy. Framework. Non-operational. But the terminology was documented. Documentation changes. Narrative posture. Markets reacted sharply. Short-term volatility exceeded quarterly range. International regulators requested clarification. Cascade probability surged. Emergency escalation. Review activated internally. All pathways reconsidered, including terminal. Terminal had not been visible since Greer. But visibility is not necessity. Irreversible outcome in modern systems does not require physical harm. It can manifest as professional nullification. Discrediting. Isolation. Credential. Invalidation. Narrative. ERASURE. Efficient. DENIABL. The fourth day brought another vector. A second whistleblower appeared publicly. Not anonymous. On record. She confirmed that volatility metrics were discussed explicitly during executive staffing reviews. Threshold management was operational. Not theoretical. Live broadcast carried. the phrase nationally. Convergence intensified. 4 vectors became 5. Journalism. Analyst testimony. Non-profit. Coalition. Protected disclosure. Second whistleblower. Multi-vector alignment strains smoothing bandwidth. Bandwidth has limits. That night, the dark sedan returned. Closer. Engine running. No visible occupants. Presence without action. Assessment. Not. Intimidation. The model does not threaten. It measures. Measurement precedes intervention. My contributor status remained elevated. No direct warning. Just silence. Silence can be recalibration. On the 5th day, 2 senior advisory executives resigned. Public accountability. Sacrificial nodes. Markets stabilized briefly. Commentary reframed the issue as consultant overreach. Structural realignment. Sacrifice visible individuals, preserve underlying architecture, but convergence had exceeded individual blame capacity. The second whistleblower released internal email excerpts. Language was careful. Volatility exceeds. Narrative tolerance. Containment pathways recommended. Not violent. Procedural. Clinical. Structure exposed itself. Emergency closed sessions. Extended into night hours. Terminal was evaluated. Escalation models updated. But visible escalation under public scrutiny increases cascade probability exponentially. Irreversible outcome would not restore stability. It would validate structural intent. The architecture recalculated. Escalation risk outweighed smoothing potential. Alternative pathway selected. A sweeping reform package was announced before the final hearing day. Immediate suspension of all predictive continuity dashboards. Independent oversight. Mandate with subpoena authority. Full audit of advisory subcontract layering. Argent. Strategic advisory dissolved effective immediately. Assets redistributed under federal supervision. Brand terminated. Markets responded positively. Volatility declined sharply. The public interpreted decisive reform. Cascade probability fell below crisis threshold. But the model did not disappear. It decentralized. Logic embedded within compliance software vendors. Exposure scoring rebranded as risk harmonization. Metrics. Language softened. Function moderated, not eliminated. The final hearing day focused on accountability. 2 agency heads resigned. Mid-level managers reassigned. No criminal charges filed. The commission concluded predictive analytics had exceeded advisory boundaries in isolated instances. Isolated. No coordinated unlawful intent established. Intent defines crime. Without intent, architecture becomes policy, policy becomes normalized. Normalized systems survive reform. My contributor's status alert did not deactivate. It stabilized at residual. Residual variables are monitored. Not eliminated. Unless reactivated, access to sources remained. Limited encrypted channels quiet. Professional invitations reduced. Isolation without confrontation. Tier 3 adapted. Professional containment. No. Dramatic escalation. Just narrowing bandwidth. Silence lowers volatility. I reduced publication frequency. Archive documentation offline. printed records, sealed. Convergence dissipates when vectors decelerate. The architecture understands time. Time reduces instability. Months later, the independent structural integrity. Commission released its final report. Findings acknowledged structural misalignment. Reforms codified. Oversight integrated. Predictive governance reframed as advisory-only analytics. No reopening of past personnel deaths. Harrow remained officially accidental. Vale remained officially medical. Rear remained officially natural. No. Retroactive accountability. Terminal remained unexamined publicly. Rare escalation retains credibility through ambiguity. The second whistleblower accepted a negotiated settlement. Non-admission. Agreement. Professional relocation. The first analyst transitioned into academic research. The journalist moved on to a separate investigation. Non-profit coalition declared conditional victory. Markets stabilized permanently. Volatility returned to baseline. The dashboard would show green. Residual stability. Achieved. I stood before the wall one final time. Names. Vectors. Timelines. Escalation. Curves. Convergence points. No hero emerged. No mastermind revealed. No dramatic collapse occurred. Sacrifices were distributed. Architecture reconfigured. Language evolved. The system survived. Not unchanged. Not innocent, but intact. Predictive containment does not require frequent escalation. It requires credible possibility. Credibility enforces compliance without activation. The threat of irreversible outcome remains most effective when rarely used. Reform did not dismantle architecture. It absorbed it. Visibility became part of containment strategy. Transparency integrated into modeling. Oversight folded into recalibration. Stability restored through adaptation. The final encrypted message arrived months after the hearings concluded. No threat. No warning. Just one line. Residual containment confirmed. Containment. Not justice. Not resolution. Stability measured. Instability. Redistributed. The rupture never came. It was modeled. It was absorbed. And it was archived as process improvement.